You may have heard that a psychedelic ceremony provides healing and epic transformation like a decade's worth of talk therapy. What you may not have heard is that it's not the ceremony itself that radically changes your life, it's the integration of the experience. Psychedelic integration leverages the breakthroughs, insights, and clarity from ceremony towards deep healing, supreme ownership of your authentic self, and an opportunity to not just create the reality of your dreams and live on purpose, but to help others do the same. I'm Cherie Goddesai, your rebel psychedelic therapist, a pioneering integration coach, and a consciousness activator. I'm also a woman with humble roots that completely transformed her life through psychedelic integration. I help people like us create our most epic and psyched lifestyle and a better world through integrating plant medicine and psychedelic experiences. Tune into today's episode to turn your day into an epic ceremony. This is the Psyched Soul Podcast. All right. Welcome, everyone. Happy birthday to the Psyched Soul Podcast. This is so exciting to finally see what has been a huge aspiration and dream of mine for years now. I can't even tell you how many hours I've spent in the vortex of thinking about what this podcast would be like and when would I finally move forward with this project. And it's happening. So welcome to this new reality. I'm Cherie Goddesai, and I'm here today to share with you about the purpose of the Psyched Soul Podcast, a little bit about me, and what you can expect to learn here in upcoming episodes. Now, a little disclaimer for you. Of course, you know that we are about to discuss one of the most interesting, maybe even taboo, exciting novel topics, novel tools that we have at hand at this time on planet Earth, which is psychedelic substances, psychedelic compounds, plant medicines, naturally occurring, synthetically derived compounds, molecules, and, obviously because of the legal jurisdiction of this class of substances, then just know, of course, that everything that is shared in this podcast today, and of course, at every other following podcast that you will listen to, is meant, of course, for educational purposes only, is not meant to condone in any way, shape, or form you partaking in illegal activities, God forbid. And if you do choose to utilize this class of drugs for any reason, then of course just assume the position of that you are choosing to do so on your own and take responsibility for that. And who am I? So first of all, I'm Cherie. Some of you may know me. I'm known as a rebel psychedelic integration therapist. I'm a pioneering coach and a creative educator. I've been a creative educator for over 25 years, and specifically in the psychedelic space for almost a decade. I just cannot believe this, even this coming out of my mouth. I've built 5 psychedelic harm reduction education organizations, companies, and also helped build and inspired multiple others. I'm the founder of what is possibly the first comprehensive and long-term psychedelic integration therapy certification program in the world. And also the creator of an innovative psychedelic integration therapy model called the Psyched Soul Method. Honestly, before all of that, this is just, just as it pertains to the psychedelic sphere, because this is a psychedelic positive space. But first and foremost, I'm a mother. I have an incredible 5-year-old. Well, currently she's 5, almost 6 now. And she's definitely a medicine baby. I'm a poet. I'm a writer. I love writing. In fact, I've been writing 3 books for a few years now, and they're going through the pipeline of publishers as I record this podcast. So it's super, super exciting. Of course, about the topic of psychedelic integration. Those that are coming through the pipelines, there are the ones that I've written that I will not talk about right now. But I love writing, and it's a passion of mine. I'm a good writer, great writer, excellent writer. And also I hide behind my writing, to be very honest. I've been hiding behind my writing through dedicating so much of my time to writing content on the social medias, writing, of course, all the content for my programs, for my clients. I'm also hiding behind huge, really revolutionary programs that I've created. And I'm showing up here today on this podcast, first and foremost, as an integration practice for me, because I feel like I'm just at a point in my life where it's just time for me to stop hiding, to stop putting barriers between myself and you guys, or rather, not just myself, but rather the information and the knowledge that I've been so privileged to gain over the years, and the context of psychedelic integration as being, I think, what could be possibly be one of my greatest muses in this life walk, one of my greatest creative muses. And I've learned so much from her. And I'm here to share all this with you. And, granted, it's not that I never wanted to share it, but, building a podcast and creating this platform and creating this supportive systems that need to producing this type of channel, it's definitely a project. And I've just been kind of overwhelmed with other things on my plate for many years now. Again, whether it's, mentoring students, my organizations, my communities, my own medicine practice, my child, my relationship, my family. We all live pretty rich lives, thank God. And, I've just never really been able to allocate the time and the resources to producing this podcast. But I've decided that the time is now for me. And, so moving away from the writing space into the talking space, I've been told many times that, conversations that I have the privilege of participating in, that there is pure alchemy in there, and that, I have strong spoken word, and I'm totally owning that I am able to and have factually created new opportunities, realities, paradigms, literally by virtue of my spoken word. And I'm totally owning that, whether, through just, people that are know me as friends, through families, of course, through clients. I've had clients tell me that our coaching sessions, completely sober, substance-free coaching sessions, they experience it like they have taken a psychedelic substance. So I'm really into mind expanding, paradigm breaking, consciousness activating, and soul awakening sessions. This is why I'm here. That's my style, and that's what's going to happen in this domain. And there are so many excellent psychedelic podcasts out there. We live in such an exciting time right now. And, where so much information is available by some really excellent people. And, why is the Psyched Soul Podcast different? Right. So I have to say, I've yet to encounter a podcast that, of course, a psychedelic positive, educational, advocates for cognitive liberty, shares tools and how-tos, and teaches us about how to mindfully and effectively pursue psychedelics and plant medicines for psychospiritual healing and development, while also paying deep homage to the crazy, I hope I said that right, by the way, homage, I'm going to choose homage to the crazy, messy, multidimensional, multifaceted, real humaning journey that we all share. And I'm using the word real specifically because, the psychedelic sphere, as much as we want to think about it as being this enlightened space, conscious space, it is all these things, of course. But at the end of the day, it's created through people, through real humans like yourself, like myself. None of us is perfect. And I do feel that the conversations in the space naturally, as I call just popular culture just tends to do, we tend to really hear only conversations about the light aspect of the work, the beautiful aspect of the work, the light speed healing of the work, and less about like what it actually looks like day to day, and as someone that has implemented this modality for a decade now with a very specific purpose of healing, of growing, of learning, of stepping more into my power, I've really felt that my experience has been so underrepresented in across media. And of course, it's not just my own journey. I feel like a lot of people are going through a similar, we all go through similar journeys at the end of the day. But we're not really feeling that maybe that we're represented accurately. So in one word, I feel, or rather I feel like we're living in a world where psychedelics are literally being glorified. They're being placed on a pedestal. They're being applauded as a miraculous healing modality, which of course, it absolutely is. It absolutely can be, okay? And I am here to say that yes, they can be that. They can be miraculous. And here's what it actually looks like to get to that miracle, to get to living an integrated quote unquote life. And that sometimes you may never even get to that. And that not everyone may even benefit from this modality, believe it or not. And that we still get to create an incredible life, even while being in that raw and dirty and maybe even discombobulating dialogue with psychedelics and plant medicines. Definitely this is not all unicorns and rainbows. I mean, don't get me wrong, it absolutely can be. I've been there, done that. I've ridden the unicorn. I've actually done a lot with that unicorn, okay? We go way back. And we've also definitely danced through the shadows. Absolutely. Some of my darkest nights of my soul I've experienced, and huge thanks and gratitude to my psychedelic teachers, my psychedelic substance teachers. I've been over the years in relationship with multiple compounds, still am to various degrees. And it's definitely, it hasn't been easy. And I'm here to advocate for the fact that even when it's not easy, that even when we don't feel fully integrated or whole or healed or whatever integration means to you, we can still laugh, we can still play, we can still be of service, we can still support others. We are still a part of the psychedelic renaissance. We can find that perfect balance of wellness and be perfectly integrated every step of the way on the journey of psychedelic integration. And I'm using the word perfectly, kind of tongue in cheek, and you'll see what I mean in a moment. But basically, though, this journey is so imperfectly perfect and by design, is that you cannot be wrong no matter what you do and who you are, of course, with a provision that you are supported, you have your community, you have your elders, you have your teachers that are holding you, mentoring you, you're learning, you're not, doing all this in isolation, kind of like lone wolf style. Again, we'll have episodes about that, but the point I'm trying to make is that you still get to exist. No one gets excluded from the psychedelic renaissance, okay? And that's why you're here. And yeah, so you've heard me right. You don't need to be quote unquote healed first, and then you get to play and serve. It doesn't work like that in my world. And I invite you to step into this world where we literally get to break through all these myths that are, I feel kind of like tarnishing the true meaning of what it means to live a psychedelic life, which is it is all holy, it is whole God. This is definitely a non-dual, it's a singular perspective. The shadow and the light have equal privileges and rights of existence. And in fact, they cannot exist without one another. And so we are here to embody it all and to be it all and to laugh with it all, to be psyched with it all. And this is literally one of the main approaches that you're going to hear on this podcast. This is my signature method of just totally pulling out the needle to pop some illusions, delusions, busting cultural myths that we have circulating in our psychedelic Renaissance culture. I'm a truth serum type of person. Of course, my version of the truth, this has to be very clear, and it's my way to play around with critical reflection and critical thinking, and also to invite others to adopt this sovereign and free stance of don't just walk blindly after the media, after shamans, after gurus, after therapists, after psychedelic leaders. As you meander your way through the psychedelic world, right? You want to learn how to step back, how to examine the total sum of reality as much as you can, of course, according to your level of awareness and perception, and do your own thing. Find your own integration. Be your own version of psychedelic integration. And this is basically the summary of this podcast. I'm here to help you be your own version of psychedelic integration. So with that, I want to share a little more about what is the purpose of this podcast. So first, you probably, I'm going to guess, may have heard that a psychedelic ceremony provides healing and epic transformation that can literally be like a decade's worth of talk therapy. What you may not have heard is that it's not necessarily the ceremony itself that radically changes your life. It's the integration of the experience. So, maybe you have heard about integration. Maybe you're familiar with it in the context of practicing meditation and journaling for a week or two after your psychedelic ceremony. And while psychedelic integration can include that, I say that this as a person that meditates and journals, and those are, practices that are dear to my heart and definitely have been so incredibly helpful in my own journey. And in my near decade of study of this concept, again, my muse, my integration guide that I've been studying with her, with this concept, with this energy for a while now, I see integration as a novel harm reduction system that is literally helping our culture at large bridge between an outdated paradigm and a new earth, as Eckhart Tolle would call it. So it's a bridge, it's a way to crystallize and anchor in light consciousness into the 3D matrix, the material, the physical planet, beautiful planet Earth that we live in, our lived reality. And the purpose of it is to accommodate new knowledge and new ways of being, birth new ways of existence, new ways of doing this humaning dance, new, sustainable, joyful ways. We know that the world right now, and as it's been for maybe forever, is kind of in a state of perpetual suffering, to say the very least, especially right now when there is so much turmoil and devastation on the planet. And we are clearly not really winning at life as a species. Okay, and we still have a ways to go in learning how to coexist with one another, to coexist with nature, and to live in harmony in this beautiful gift of life that we have been so fortunate to receive. And so we're learning how to do that. We're literally going through some type of a birth canal that is birthing a new era, individually, collectively. We're going to have a whole episode that's going to be dedicated to defining exactly what I feel psychedelic integration is, and of course, breaking it down bit by bit in following episodes. But for now, the idea of psychedelic integration is to leverage the breakthroughs and the insights and the aha moments from your ceremony, and to channel them towards deep healing, towards supreme ownership of your authentic self, and to really to get an opportunity to not just create the reality of your dreams and to live your life on purpose, but to help others do the same. And this is such a key point of integration. It's not just about the individual, it's about the collective, it's about the ecosystem. So, the world change starts with changing ourselves first. Revolutionizing the world begins with each of us creating that internal revolution and being at the helm of our own revolution and change so we can be that beacon of light consciousness. And of course, the more of us that we have on the planet, more beacons of light, then the greater the light. And that's how new consciousness is birthed. So if you are a person that's interested, again, in leveraging psychedelic ceremony to shape your everyday reality into constant gasps of, oh my God, I can't believe this is my life. This is amazing. How do I get to do what I love? Which is totally possible, right? You have arrived to this podcast, the Psyched Soul Podcast, by design. And I promise you that this podcast will tickle you in a really good spot in that regard. We're totally here for number one, straightforward, no nonsense, psychedelic integration therapy, how-tos. I'm going to share lots of stuff that I teach in my iconic integration coaching certificate program, the Psyched Soul Play School of Integration and Soulpreneurship. It's going to be like a transpersonal coaching session. I'm going to offer professional interventions, talk about client cases, stories from my own life of how I actively work with integration to become shinier every day, right? So that's one thing you can expect here. And then the second aspect, so again, what we just talked about, individual integration, I call this integration 1.0. Okay, but did you know about integration 2.0? No? Well, let's talk about it. Well, this is an integration 2.0. This is like next level, the next level of the integration game, right? Once you've mastered integration level 1, integration level 2 is where you get to take your gained wisdom, your truth, your authentic self that you have identified as a type of soul code, a soul medicine that is unique to you, that you are here to literally deliver as a conscious bridge at this time on planet Earth. You're here to do that through acts of service. Now, it's no wonder, think about this for yourself. If you've had any experience, even just one journey that you've had with psychedelics and plant medicine, okay? It doesn't matter which type of medicine. It's no wonder that literally pretty much every single person who has had a mind-blowing ceremony has stepped out of it just completely convinced that they are here to be of service and to help others in some capacity, typically through medicine, right? Typically through medicine journey, serving medicine, being a coach, having a retreat center, being a shaman, whatever. But this is basically like the entry point to the psychedelic integration journey. Now, I'm laughing because, your girl, myself, I am no different. I went through the exact same portal, the exact same passage. That passage, that desire, that fire that was awakened within me, was lit within me after my first mind-blowing ceremony that I've had. For me, it was with MDMA. It has literally brought me to create everything I've created. And I'm talking about multiple psychedelic organizations, educational companies. I founded a nonprofit, my trademark treatment method. I founded, one of the largest integration communities ever. I've literally had the privilege to help tens of thousands of people. I've likely impacted countless more globally, certified over 100 coaches. And honestly, like some of the industry's most well-known and loved leaders that literally started their way in my community circles. And they're amazing, and I'm so proud of them. And I think about all that, everything that's been created, and I also look back and I think about like how I got started, where I came from, right? And it's so interesting because I feel like in so many ways, I'm kind of like an average human, to be honest. At least, my background, the cards that I've been dealt in this particular lifetime, granted, first and foremost, I grew up with so much privilege, having a loving family, that really like had two parents that did absolutely everything they could to give us children the opportunities that they did not have. And with that, I'm a daughter to an immigrant Middle Eastern family that has been through so much in trying to create that life for us. Parents that literally worked 7 days a week for decades, sleeping in tiny apartments. I'm personally suffered from a plethora of mental health issues, were completely undiagnosed until literally late in my 30s. PTSD, depression, anxiety. I've also had undiagnosed postpartum depression for 2.5 years until finally it was diagnosed. I had a super traumatic upbringing. I'm currently a middle-aged woman. I've been through so much, of course, as all of us have, and I don't take my life for granted. I've worked very hard to get to where I am today, and still in the grind, still doing it and doing it with a lot of joy and gratitude in my heart. Right now, I'm also living in Costa Rica after moving here in July 2021, straight from Los Angeles, just searching for a more peaceful and spacious and balanced and integrated lifestyle. And let me tell you, even just that transition, which I'm still going through, honestly, it's been almost 2.5 years now, but there's been a necessary annihilation of some pretty deep personality and lifestyle patterns that needed to be dismantled here so I could create my life anew, or dare I say, a more aligned life. So I also just want to acknowledge that this is a season in my human's life, and seasons change. And obviously, every episode is recorded in a moment in time. And you may hear different versions of me coming forward through each episode. And, with everything I've been through and everything that I continue going through, and I really just want to name that. Again, just having that super humble roots background and having to work through a lot, like all of us, to a certain degree, to learn how to, again, be the best version of myself that I can be, and not holding back, not judging myself, quieting the inner critic, just laying down the swords of the shadow, just so I can learn how to embody the light. And through all of that, I've never stopped creating. I've never stopped serving. I've never stopped making offers, just knowing this work that I get to serve is called psychedelic integration. And it really does help people live epic lives through crystallizing consciousness. This is my journey, and this is the journey that I teach. And everything I teach comes from my own personal experience. This is super important to me, to have gone through things myself and to embody the teaching, and to cycle through the teaching with my audience. And so this is important to me, and I'm just learning to continue communicating that, being in communication of these teachings in real time. And this is really what this podcast is about. So I'm basically just going to break down what it takes to unapologetically step into roles of service in the psychedelic renaissance, and of course offer some contrarian wisdom that I've gathered in being nearly a decade in the space, pioneering the field of psychedelic integration support. And then finally, another purpose of this podcast is just the courage. I want to inspire courage, radical courage within you, within all of you that are listening. The courage to show up as you are, the courage to show up confidently, boldly, authentically. Just be empowered in your day-to-day experience, being unapologetic about who you are and what you are here to do. In my most recent ceremonial journey with a plant consciousness that I've been so privileged to meet in the last year, peyote, I got this slogan. You know how sometimes we get these slogans in visionary states? So one of the slogans that came through was that nothing is given. You've got to claim it. So we are here to claim the life that we're here to live. And first, we're going to do it for ourselves. You're going to do it for you first, and then you're going to do it for others. You're going to take care of you first, love yourself first, and then you can take care of and love others. This is how it works. And the one promise that I'm making here today in this huge metasphere of the podcasting world that I'm stepping into right now is the in the raw promise. So what do I mean by in the raw? If you've been following me for a while, then you know that I am super transparent with it all. I always have been, because I have found that as I grew as a leader and in a rapidly changing industry like the psychedelic renaissance, with every challenge and every time I fell flat on my face, and trust me, this has happened not once, not twice, probably a million times by now. More often than not, it happened publicly. And I had to like give answers, hold myself accountable. It hasn't been easy being in the public sphere, being a public facing person while doing this level of introspection, healing, and inner work. And trust me, I fell flat on my face. And every time that happened, I discovered that transparency was the tool that was my saving grace. Because every time, if something like that happens, and I just needed to share that, here's what's happening. Here's where I fell short. Here's what I did not know. Here's how I feel like I can be better. I'm open to feedback. I know my intentions are good at the end of the day. Am I perfect? No. I mean, here's that word again. I'm absolutely perfect in the way that I'm designed as an imperfect, an imperfect human living through a completely imperfect human journey experience. And this is who I am. And this is probably who you are too. And again, everyone else that's operating in this sphere. So I'm just fully honest about where I'm at, who I am not, what I've learned, and hopefully I can inspire people to just, to be honest and authentic as well. And that's it. That's the tool that I have. And this is the biggest gift I can offer you in this podcast, is an up close and transparent window into the life of a limitless spirit that is literally learning every day how to surrender more deeply into the limitations of her human dance, and also supporting the human, supporting my human as she surfs huge waves, and learning how to embrace the great mystery, learning how to navigate between the psychedelic soul manifesting sphere to this human dance, and embracing the cosmic joke of it all. Because it's super funny. It's super funny. Sometimes I just, when I have that level of awareness and I'm able to just like step back and just like witness things as some type of like a reality channel in the Matrix, and then I can also just decide to switch the channel. Sometimes I stay there because it's entertaining to just like to be able to look again, have that like outside perspective on this human that is me, like doing her little, or not even little, not belittling anyone, or especially myself, not belittling myself. As I say that, I'm looking at myself doing this human dance, and sometimes I think, wow, what a clumsy human she is. She's so cute though. All these humans are really trying their best. And I have a lot of compassion for that. And I just want to share in the joy of it all, that we get to observe that as something that's entertaining and fun, and to have compassion for it. It's like a commedia dell'arte. We just get to have watch and see all the different archetypes at play, see our personalities at play, our thoughts at play, our traumas at play, our inner child at play, our family systems at play, our family system roles, and just look at all of them as characters and energies in this universal show, and choose how we want to participate. And most important, just laugh as it all, staying psyched, literally staying psyched and being happy, finding the joy, and being as integrated as you can possibly be through it all. And just owning that, really the concept of integration, the concept of wholeness. Okay, I'm going to break another huge myth for you right now. It doesn't exist. What does it even mean to be a whole human. Okay. But we're not going to get into that right now. This is just something to leave you off with for today. But here are some ways that you can support this podcast. Okay. Number one, share the news with other souls who can get inspired by this space, who need to hear what we share here today. Again, this is just a channel for the muse of psychedelic integration. I am, again, just the broadcaster, the translator, if you will. So share the channel with other people who can get inspired, who need this, who are utilizing psychedelics, who are curious about getting into psychedelic therapy, psychedelic service, and living their best epic lives. Download episodes, liking episodes, sharing the episodes, leaving us great reviews. This is what make podcasts visible. So it's really going to help with the visibility of the podcast. You all know that as psychedelic people, if psychedelics have helped you in any way, shape, or form, we need to get the news out and the consciousness news out into the whole world. And hopefully they can be watching, news like news shows like such as this one, as opposed to conditioning news that are systemizing us into very specific social structures, which of course those are the ones we are attempting to eradicate and completely disrupt. So do that. Of course, you can join our community, which I really hope that you do. First of all, by visiting my website, psychedsoul.com. And if you go into /freebies, you can also choose a free gift to download. There's tons of good stuff in there for you that you can learn from. Follow the podcast on social media, on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, at Psyched Soul, and Instagram at the.psych.soul. And of course, write to me with any questions or comments you may have to support@psychedsoul.com. And most important, just get psyched, be psyched, turn your life into an epic ceremony. I'm so grateful that you are part of our Psyched Soul tribe, and I am here for you. I'm here for you to just send you so much love and hold you in my highest visions of your highest visions becoming the most incredible reality here in this lifetime. Lots of love to you, friends. Cheers to you, psyched friend, for completing this episode of the Psyched Soul Podcast. Find today's show's notes and all relevant links, as well as a free gift for you on psychedsoul.com/podcast. And don't forget to join our exclusive Psyched Soul Tribe WhatsApp group through the link in our show notes. Go ahead and leave us a great review because it makes the podcast visible to a lot more people. You can help us grow our tribe and create some epic magic in someone's life by downloading and sharing the episode with someone you care about. And remember, it's not the psychedelics, it's your integration.